Welcome to Gulfstream today, and I'm Ron Nicoletti, joined by Acacia Courtney, and it is the start of our summer meeting. We had a really fun day yesterday with the mandatory payouts. If you hit that Rainbow Six over $3,000, congratulations. And just a fun weekend just kicking off today, Friday. We're running all the way through Monday this week. We got a special holiday card on July 4th, but more about that in a couple of minutes, because right now we want to tell you, you only have about, 59 minutes left to play Beat the Expert.
Beat the Expert. Yes, yesterday was mandatory payouts. Tomorrow is Summit of Speed. We have 4th of July coming up. And today you can beat the expert. Head on over to Gulfstreampark.com or our Facebook page, Twitter page, all the information over there. There are 9 races today. If you can get more winners in your top selection than me, you'll have the chance to win one of those great polo shirts plus the bragging rights. And as always, use hashtag Beat the Expert. So my picks are all in, but it's only your winners. So see if you can get more than I can.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, so make sure you play, and we do that each and every week on Fridays. And as I mentioned at the top of the show, what a weekend this is. Tomorrow, Summit of Speed Day, and you see we have a special post tomorrow of 12:15 p.m., over $1.2 million on the line, 9 stakes races, and because of that 12:15 post, we'll be starting here earlier on the stage.
We will be. We'll be here at 11:05. And don't forget, if you can't join us tomorrow, you can watch the live stream on Gulfstreampark.com. You can also watch the Handicapping show on there to get all of our tips for tomorrow and all the exciting stuff that's going on during the day.
Yeah, it's a great website. That's Gulfstreampark.com. Everything you need to have a fun day at Gulfstream Park is on there, including today when you go on there and you beat this expert. Oh, at least she hopes you don't. We'll see how it works out. Now, let's show you today's wagering menu. We got a 9-race card today, and we're starting it off in race number 1 with the rolling super high 5. And we have that throughout the afternoon as long as there's 7 or more runners in the field. Also in race 1, we have 2 pick 5s this afternoon. Of course, the first one starts in race number 1. It's a 50-cent wager. Acacia's got a ticket she's going to show you in just a couple of moments. And as we mentioned, mandatory payouts yesterday, so the Rainbow Six starts anew today in race number 4, and boy, it builds quickly, and I can't tell you how many times exactly, but when we come back after it's been hit or a mandatory payout, they pays great the next day. So I just want to let you know that. And we end the day today with a 9-race card with a late pick 5. That is the last 5 races on the card. And more importantly now, when you start your handicapping, we're starting the day today with a sloppy main track. The turf course is still listed as firm. The turf course can take a lot of rain. It's been very hot here, but we did have a rain shower just before we came on the air, so the main track is listed as sloppy.
Well, I think that turf course probably needed a little bit of rain on there too, so probably did it good. But you know, we're starting over the fresh leaf today with all of everything paid out yesterday, so keep that in mind with your handicapping, but lots of exciting stuff to get in on today.
Yeah, before we look at race number 1, one thing, I want to give some congratulations out to our leading rider of the spring meet, MSC El Jaramillo, and our leading trainer, Antonio Sano.
Yes, and leading owner was PTK LLC, so congratulations to all of those leading connections for the past meet.
Now they got to start again today, so we'll see who wins this summer meeting here. Let's go to race number 1. As we mentioned, the turf course is listed as firm. This one is 5 furlongs claimers, 3 and up, non-winners of 2 in life, or 3-year-olds, $30,000 down to $25,000. Scratch the main track only in here, number 8, Baduke, and this is where you have your first pick 5. So let's take a quick look at it.
Yes, we'll give you a look at my ticket here. I went 4 deep in the first leg. My single came in the final leg of the pick 5. Just $36 for me today. We're starting over fresh, as we mentioned, after the mandatory payouts yesterday. Of course, pick 5, always everything's got to go. But my single came with race number 5. That's with the 2-horse Global Magician in there, taking a little stab to keep it affordable. But again, 4 deep in this first race, and then just covering all my bases in the middle.
Yeah, and you got the 4 to start in here. Which horse did you have on top of your ticket?
Well, I took a little stab in this one, and I went with the number 7 Gasolina on top. And one of the reasons that I did that is because there's a lot of speed in this race, and I thought it was a pretty wide open one. And I would not be surprised to see the number 6, I'm No Secret, who is very early in the wagering, the big favorite right now, but dropping. This one can sit behind the pace a little bit too, but I looked for the 7 Gasolina, who doesn't need the lead. Won impressively last time out against $20,000 maiden claimers, 5 furlongs on the turf. Has that win at this distance distance, and I think that this is one who can sit behind the speed nicely.
Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. We're going to talk about the 6 I'm No Secret. Looks like the one to beat, and I think that'll probably be the off-time favorite. I like the fact that you went and tried and beat it with a horse of Gasolina. That's going to come from off the pace. Matthew Rispoli will be in the saddle today. I had similar ideas, but it was a horse that you had on the ticket, and that was actually the morning line favorite in here, and that's number 5, Drama Club. 3 for 4 sprinting on the turf with only Mishku coming with a 7th place finish, but that was in the $75,000 Texas Glitter. She's dropping to this $30,000 level. Local return for trainer David Fawkes. Eddie Castro rides. I just think off their past performances on the turf, this one looks like a major contender in the opener.
Oh, absolutely. One that you have to have on there. Actually dead heated to win last time out with Force Motion, so did get that 2 victories in a row, but has to avoid getting caught in a pace duel.
Well, as I mentioned, number 6, I'm No Secret, is no secret in this first race.
No secret, especially if you look on there now. Another one dropping to this level. Finished behind Drama Club last time out. Flattened a little bit after chasing the pace, and it was only beaten by 2 1/4 lengths to finish 5th, so could be a live shot, and looking, especially with the drop, for some improvement. But we'll see if they're able to better off that beaten favorite performance.
And then trained by Mike Maker, we want to show you a stat from Mike Maker over the last 5 years with a layoff 31 to 60 days in sprints on the turf. He's 30 for 134. That's 22%. Almost in the money, 49%. Well, 49% of the time, almost 50%. And a good ROI of $1.93 for a bond that's bet off the board most times when they start in turf sprints. I thought that was a pretty good stat. So up there on the board very early in the wagering, as we mentioned, at even money. Who else did you use on the ticket?
Well, I had those 3. The 7, Gasolina, was my top one, and then Drama Club and I'm No Secret, as we talked about. In my pick 5, I also threw on the number 1, Mr. Kisses, who's going to be a little bit of a price, and doesn't really seem to show too much speed on the turf, but only run once on the turf, so a little bit of a gamble there.
Well, I'd be remiss in my duties if I didn't point out a key race here, and that is the number 4, Zeus Odin, is stepping up the competition. Split a pair of next out winners, one called Goodbye Sorrow, the other one called Loudon's Gray, but that was a 12-5, 2 lifetime claimer at the distance. Looking for another upset here, and I think this horse might have a shot to pull a little bit of it up. So it's taking some money up there at 5 to 1. So, but very, very early in the wagering. Let's go to race number 2, and as we mentioned, we're going to be dealing with a sloppy track this afternoon. It's a 1-mile maiden claiming fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and up, $40,000 down to $30,000. 6 runners in this field, and you know we're saying the sloppy track now. If it gets like it normally does here in South Florida, and the sun comes back out, this track will dry out as the afternoon progresses.
Yeah, absolutely. And you have to keep that in mind for sure, but I don't think it's going to be too much of an issue today as we start to heat up a bit. I went with the number 1, Little Alexandra, on top from the Carlo Vaccarezza barn. Cornelio Velasquez is going to be aboard. First 3 starts were on the turf, moved over to the main track last time out, and finished 4th, but I thought it was a solid 4th in special weight company. Now going to drop into maiden claiming, but what I really like about this horse is the way that she's been working. Really, really strong works on the tab.
Yeah, Little Alexander on my ticket, but we got our exacta flip-flop. I went with the 4, Liberty Road, is dropping to this $40,000 level, stretching out today to that mile distance. After returning from a layoff, I thought finished a stamina-enhancing 3rd at against maiden special weight competition, going 7 furlongs. The trainers Marty Wilson, MCL Jaramillo handling the stretch out to this 1-mile distance. I think this horse moves forward off that performance last time. I really respect the connections with Marty Wilson and MCL Jaramillo, and you have it on the ticket too, so a logical contender in
I think so too, and I think it's one that you have to have on. I put her to run in the money because 11 starts so far, no wins yet, but 9 of those have been in the money. The last 5 races were 3rd place finishes, so this is a horse that just has not been able to get to the winner's circle just yet, has been the beaten favorite a few times, and yes, dropping into maiden claiming company from the special weight, but I still had a hard time putting her on top of my ticket because of that.
And you closed it out with the number 2, and that's Queen of Gems.
Well, this one's a first-time starter, so a little bit of a guess, but going to debut with Lasix, a pretty decent work tab, and from the David Fawkes barn, Tyler Gaffley aboard.
Yeah, I threw in Charming Fantasies, dropping $10,000 on the maiden scale, stretching out to this mile distance, for the first time in its career after finishing a distant third behind a next out winner called Kiss Us in a $50,000 maiden race going 3/4 of a mile. So that is race number 2 this afternoon. We are going back to the turf for race number 3. 7 1/2 furlongs. These are maiden claimers 3 and up. $16,000. And we do have one scratch in here so far, and it's the number 1 Arriba Causeway. That main track only is still in, but our track announcer, Pete Aiello, he'll be here in just a little while, update you on everything you need to get your Rainbow Six or whatever bet you're putting together today. He'll let you know if this horse is still in or out, whatever the case may be. You started it off with the number 5, Daddy Duke.
I went with Daddy Duke, and we have our trifecta flip-flopped, but Daddy Duke added blinkers last time out and finished a really solid third, was dueling with some of the leaders there. It was just behind Traffic Express, another horse in this field, but I really think that Daddy Duke is eligible to improve, beaten just by 3/4 of a length there. Now claimed and moving over into the Steve Glasaris barn. Cornelia Velasquez is going to be aboard, a rather notable jockey change there, and I just think that this is a horse who, now second time with the blinkers and with the new barn switch, can really do well.
Well, a horse I know you have some interest in, the number 3, Leroy's Images, the horse I put on top of stepping up a notch after the promising $12,500 debut at the distance in which he dueled throughout and he finished second. He was beaten only a half length that day.
Beaten only a half length. We're going to go back and show you that race. That was from June 18th. This was in a maiden claiming 12-5 level. You see he's the number 3 there that day. 7 1/2 furlongs on the turf was his debut. As you mentioned, beaten just by half a length, and moving pretty well here. It looks like he's coming in between horses, and it looks like along the rail the 1 might move and then the 9 might move, and it looks like any of those horses really have a shot. So it was very game as he's coming down to the wire, dueling with the 9 as the 2 is coming on the outside. It looks like he's going to be home there free, and then just gets caught at the wire with the late charging 2 horse that day. But I thought a solid performance. Now stepping up a little bit in class, as you mentioned.
You know, he's dueling with the 2 horses, 1 to his inside, 1 to his outside. There 2 comes. He's got a free run on the outside, just nips him at the wire. And the reason I put the horse on top of my ticket, I thought that was a pretty game performance. Now, number 7, Wonder Frolic, who have in third. You have in second, who's turning back just a tad this afternoon.
Well, I think this horse will be the speed in the race here today. Has gone forward a couple of times. Finished second last time out behind your friend Weeza Gone Gray, a big long shot that came home and paid more than $100. So I think that this horse can be the speed, as you mentioned, cutting back a little bit. Ran at a mile on a good turf course last time out and finished that solid second.
Yeah, I mean, we have base. I think we got the right 3 on there, and, just in whatever order you want to put it in. With that said, we will take a short break, and when we come back, we will show you my Rainbow Six ticket, which starts in race number 4 this afternoon.
Hey everyone, I'm Acacia Courtney, and I want to tell you about a fun contest that we have going on. It's called Beat the Expert. Every Friday, if you're able to pick more winners than me or my co-host Ron Nicoletti, then you will have the chance to win a free polo shirt that says that you beat the expert. Go to facebook.com/GulfstreamPark to enter and use hashtag #BeatTheExpert to let us know that you're playing. Bring it on.
Don't forget to tweet me if you do indeed beat the expert. Let me know so I can have some ammunition against her. Yeah, they'll get some fun game.
Yeah, and I did actually get a nice Facebook message from last week's winner from Wisconsin, actually.
Wow.
That he said he got his Beat the Expert polo and was happy. He said he's 71 years old and still playing, James Billet Sr. So really happy. If you do win, be sure to let me know so we can congratulate you. And hopefully we have lots of people playing today, so it's a good competition.
Hi there in Wisconsin. Must be watching today, right?
I hope so. Yeah, another chance to win again this week.
Well, this 4th race, 6 furlongs, claimers, fillies, and mares, 3 and up. Non-winners of 2 in life. We have 1 scratch, 2 jockey changes on the jockey. On the 1 is Lionel Reyes. On the 4, it's Luca Panici. Had a really good day yesterday. And scratch the number 6, Stacy's Reflection. So we're dealing with a 5-horse field here. Let's quickly show you my Rainbow Six ticket, and you will see only $21.60 today. Went 3 deep in the 4th, 5th 2. Then you see down there in race number 8. I think this horse is really special today, and that is Mac Daddy Mac, and then 4, 5, 7 in the end. So just a small ticket in here because we're not dealing with a big carryover. We're just building it up, and I like a couple of horses today that I think stand out, at least in my estimation.
Oh, yeah. Well, we put pretty bigger tickets together yesterday for a mandatory payout day. So if you spent a lot yesterday, you can spend a little bit today and get ready for the good weekend coming up.
Okay, how'd you start race number 4?
Well, I went with the number 2, Pink Mama, who moved over into the Angel Rodriguez barn last time out, showed a lot of speed and finished second. It looks like we actually have the same 3 horses, but I want to go back and show you this race. This was actually on a good track, so there was some moisture in the track there. She ended up finishing second. You see she's the number 6 here. I want to show how she just blasts out from the gate. Really impressive early speed there to get to the front, and I think that she will be the speed of the speed in this race, probably do the same thing. She will be breaking from post 2 today, and then we're going to cut through, and you see she's there in the front. It really looks like she's home free. This was off of a little bit of a freshening. She went from March and came back in June. This was on June 8th, so again, it looks like she's home free. Once again, you have some late charging horses, and she just gets beaten by half a length there as the horse comes up the rail. Probably tired a little bit. She again blasted out from the gate there, but I think going with the post relief, if she shows some speed, might be able to get it done today.
Yeah, and cutting back from that 6.5 furlong distance to 3/4 of a mile. So at the 3/4 mark, that horse would have won it if it was 6 furlongs, and certainly should move forward today. It looks like, a major contender in here, but did get really short in the stretch, as you saw in that thing, so maybe we could beat it with somebody else. And the other horse that we both use is the one, Lady Nura, going to try 6 furlongs again after finishing second for the 4th consecutive time we're beating ahead. That was a 5 furlong sprint. It was moved from the turf to a sealed, sloppy track, so we have a sloppy track today. Maybe today is the day that this horse gets out of second gear.
Well, she definitely seemed to show an affinity for that sloppy track. It didn't bother her at all there. She had that second, missed just by a head, but she was the beaten favorite the last 2. I had a hard time putting her on top of my ticket because her last 4 races were second place finishes, but that's the one we mentioned with the jockey change, Lionel Reyes, so I believe he had 3 wins yesterday, so been riding in very good form lately, and this one has a little bit of speed as well, might be able to sit just behind Pink Mama.
And the other horse we used was the number 3, Playa Zaragoza.
Well, the last 3 starts have been in the money as well. Another one who finished second on a sloppy track and third, beaten just by a length last time out on a good track.
Yeah, the obvious concern, the 1 for 17 record, finished third behind aforementioned Pink Mama. I used all 3 on my Rainbow 6 ticket. Let's go to race number 5 this afternoon, and this one is 5 furlongs on the turf. Claimants 3 and up, non-winners of 3 races in life, or 3-year-olds. One equipment note on the 1, blinkers on this afternoon. Scratch both the number 9 and the number 10, and we have a 9-race card, so our final pick 5 starts right now.
Starts right now. And in the last leg of the pick 5, this race was actually where I singled. First leg of the late pick 5. I went 3 deep here. You know how I feel sometimes about singling in the first leg, but if you can do that, then this would be a good place for it. So here's another example. You singled, Ronnie, in race number 8. I just went 4 deep there with the scratch. There's
well,
only 4
horses,
so it's bound to be that way, but I agree with you that is the logical horse. My single came in race number 7. It's with the Wesley Ward trainee, My Kind of Cat. $36 also for the late pick 5.
Well, we talked about this before we came on the air, and I don't know if you have the number 2 Global Magician on top of your ticket, but this one is 3 to 5 on the morning line. And this is a Cal-bred son of Globalize making its South Florida debut. The first start since finishing 6th. That was going a mile. It was on the Santa Anita turf against $25,000 claimers. It was back during March. The trainer is Gilberto Zerpa. But to me, this is a little bit of an unknown quantity coming in there, and hasn't run here.
It is definitely, and we both put the horse on top. As I mentioned, I singled in the last leg of the early pick 5. I definitely think that this horse has a good shot to win. That being said, you're probably going to get a very low price on it for a horse that's a little bit of an unsure thing. Yes, there are a lot of things to like. Adding the blinkers back on, but coming off of that 4-month layoff, moving over into the Zerpa barn. But this is a horse that's earned more than $150,000 already, and 2 for 15 in lifetime starts, 1 for 2 at this distance with a second. So we'll see how all of those things come together and if this horse really actually is as much of a sure thing.
You make great points, but I'm not taking 3 to 5 on a horse that I haven't seen run here in South Florida. That's just me. You have to make that decision. And I guess, watch the tote action to see how things play out there. We both used the number 4 horse in second, and that is Casey Weigman.
Well, the last 3 starts for this horse have been 3rd place finishes. A little bit of a theme today with some horses trying to get out of that in the money finishes and into the winner's circle. And Casey Weigman is the same. Marcos Meneses will be in the saddle once again. Those thirds were at the 5 furlong on the turf. So one that's often up there in the money.
Yeah, 17 races on the Gulfstream turf in its career with no wins.
Yeah.
So you got to put that in. And we closed it out with the buddy of mine, Remembering Richie, number 8, who I've been trying to get the win. And when I didn't bet him the one time, he won.
Well, so maybe that's a sign he would have been third today. But Remembering Richie definitely looks to have be the speed of the speed in this race. Now, first off the clay, moving over into the barn of Jacob Molina Palacios. And I think that this is a horse who can go out to the front, and we'll see if the rest can catch him.
Yeah, so a race there with an overwhelming favorite in there, and we're going to see how that works out. And then that's where the handicapping comes in, where you got to make that decision. Race number 6 this afternoon, 6 furlongs, an allowance optional claim of 3 and up, or that optional claiming price of $16,000. Clean slate in here with 8 runners, no scratches, or jockey changes to report. And you went with the number 3 horse in here, and that's Ranger in Paradise.
I did. Here's another one where I'm trying to beat the favorite a bit. And the reason that I like Ranger in Paradise is because going back over to the dirt has shown a lot of speed in the one dirt start. They've had 3 starts so far with this horse. Now this will be the second one in the Angel Rodriguez barn. Second off of the layoff as well. Ran back in June in the dirt and won by 9 3/4 lengths. A very impressive finish there. But yes, that was back in June of last year. Came back in May, and it didn't really do anything running against $25,000 optional claimers on the turf. Now going to go back on the dirt and take a drop in class, and I think all of those things coming together with a really exceptional work tab.
Yeah, you know, I had too many concerns to put this horse on my ticket for all the reasons you mentioned, but it's a good pick. I like the fact that it's a bit of a price in here. But what is it, 8 to 1 in the morning? 8 to 1 in the morning line. So yeah, I couldn't pull a trigger on it. I went back and looked. If I could have gone 4 deep, I would have used this horse. But I did go with the inside horse, who you have in second, and that's Tanago, I think it's pronounced, who competes for the $16,000 tag in this optional claiming event. Makes his first start. He rallied to finish third. It was against 30 claimers at the distance back on March 18th. And Peter Walder is going to add those blinkers today.
Adding the blinkers on, we'll give you a stat for trainer Peter Walder in the past 5 years with first-time blinkers in the sprints. 4 for 18, a relatively small sample size, but 22% win, but in the money 56% of the time, more than half the time. $1.70 ROI. So these horses are usually pretty well bet, especially in these types of events. But one of the concerns I had for this horse was claimed and ran in August, came back in March, now off of another bit of a freshening. The last 2 wins were back in 2014, tried a couple of stakes. It just looks like they haven't been able to find the right spot for this horse. That cut in class with the blinkers might be the one, but this is the one that I found had a few more question marks, just as you were mentioning.
Well,
before.
You know my friend Flavin, right? My friend Flavin is who I used in second. That's the number 6, who was knocking on the door versus Similar and finishing second in 3 consecutive races on the dirt, both here and at the fairgrounds. Goes back to the main track today after making that middle move and fading to finish 5th against $35,000 optional claimers, going 7.5 on the turf. Leo Gabriel Jr., Luca Panici, surface switch this afternoon, classes up really nicely in the spot.
Yeah, and this is a horse that's come out of a couple key races. I know you're a fan of that angle. If you go to back, finished in between a couple of next out winners, and the second before that was behind a next out winner as well, so kept some good company, but does seem to like to finish second.
You know, the morning line favorite in here, where I put in third, is the number 7 Prague, an impressive winner, 2 starts back, going 6 furlongs on the fast track, albeit against $12,500 claimers. Turned it back. He went up last time. He vied for the lead. He faded against $10,000 optional claimers, going 6.5. It was in the slop. That's what we're dealing. This horse is going to be on the lead, and maybe if he gets loose, he wins it there. He, like I said, the morning line favorite. I had a tough time putting him on the ticket, but I did put him on third just because of that performance. 2 back, so we'll see how that works out. Let's go to race number 7 this afternoon. 5 furlongs turf, maiden claimers, fillies and mares, 3 and up, $12,500. No scratches to report in here yet. The main track only is still in as of this moment, and we'll see how that plays out. And this was your single here, My Kind of Cat.
Yes, My Kind of Cat. And I think that you can kind of put, you have to look at this horses each race individually.
Right.
First 2 starts, both on the turf, one in maiden special weight, then took a very big drop into a $12,500 maiden claiming company after a rather big layoff. Both of those starts had shown some early speed, got bumped at the start last time out, and still managed to finish second.
Yeah, we're going to show you that performance. We're going to show you the head-on at the start here of this horse. Just getting bumped. He is the number 5 this afternoon. You just see him. He gets, bopped back a little bit. You'll see it here. Come over. Just, there's some bumping it. It's not the worst bumping in the world, but I wanted to show it. Then we're going to switch from the top of the stretch home, and I thought this horse ran, as you mentioned, a very good. He's back there, and you say, oh, my goodness, he's got no shot, and he just keeps coming and coming and coming, and he actually has to shift outside. He's got to go between horses, and he comes up, and he runs pretty well in there, you know. So I just thought he ran well. He's not done yet. You thought he was done yet, but he's going to be second. He just keeps coming. I think with that, trouble at the start and a nice finish, I think he's closer to the pace this afternoon. I can understand him being your top pick in there.
Absolutely. Well, what I felt was the question mark about that race is that if you look, that was on a turf labeled good.
Right.
The turf is still labeled firm today, so that's something to keep an eye on because it looked to me like she wasn't able to get her footing,
right,
especially with the bumping at the start. It was a very aggressive ride that day, and she was coming up really, really quickly to make up that ground. She had to take back a couple times. Again, she still managed that second place finish, but she didn't seem to love the wet ground. She managed to do it, but we'll see how she fares today.
Well, the number one horse in here, Wallflower, is actually the morning line favorite. Should be ready to dance into the third start of its current form cycle after finishing third and second, respectively, in back-to-back starts at this level and distance. Dane Kabisky, Eddie Castro handling that inside drawer. So Wallflower should be ready to dance.
Wallflower should be ready to dance. I like that. Yes, indeed. Third and second in the last two starts. Those were both on the turf. Has the speed, especially coming from the rail. Eddie Castro is going to be in the saddle once again, and I think that this is the right spot for this horse.
And we both used the number 4 in here, and we're thinking we're going to pronounce it Ilshti?
Ixley, I think.
We'll have to check with Pete on that.
So Pete Aiello will be the one to check on that one, but this one's coming off. It ran about 2.5 months ago in April. 5 furlongs on the turf against $12,500 maiden claimers. Finished fourth, but I thought it was a very beneficial debut.
Yeah, and Efren Lozer, he's solid with both the 61 to 180 day layoff. He's about 32%, and we're going to show you that stat right now over the 5 years. Layoff of 61 to 181 days on the turf. Well, on the turf, he's only 3 for 18, 70%. Not bad, 39%, but he's got a $5.23 ROI. Now, I got it just to the turf. The other one stat, the 32% was on all surfaces. So just wanted to point this out to you and show you that stat on the number 4 horse. And now let's go to race number 8. And boy, excuse me, my piece was falling out just a second here. This one is a very, very interesting race. 6 furlongs allowance, optional claimer, state bred or optional claimer levels of $12,500. One scratch in here of number 4, Splash Rules, but there's one horse everybody's going to want to see run.
Absolutely, and that's going to be the number 1, Mac Daddy Mac, who last race in November, it was at Del Mar. It was in the Grade 3 Bob Hope. This one's a $200,000 son of Put It Back, also adding blinkers for the first time today.
Yeah, let's go back to show that race at Del Mar here, and we'll see how this horse runs. And he just, he broke his maiden very, very impressively. Comes back right in to a Grade 3 race, as you mentioned, the Bing Crosby, and I thought ran a very nice second. Going to run today from the Kathy Ritvo barn, and I have high hopes for this horse, and I just wanted to, go back and show you this horse ran exceptionally well in there, and I think comes off the layup and runs very well. I used Niconelli in second, who's the only multiple winner in the field.
Absolutely, and I agree with you on that. Before we talk about Niconelli, you want to give a quick stat on trainer Kathy Ritvo, who trains the 3 to 5 morning line favorite Mac Daddy Mac, with more horses coming off more than a 180-day layoff, and in the sprints, 2 for 9, so a small percentage, but what I think is really impressive is 7 for 9, 78% of the time in the money, and still a positive ROI of 217. So with that kind of layoff and in the sprints, doesn't do it very often, but has had quite a bit of success with that.
Yeah, I jumped the gun a little bit with Niconelli there. The only multiple winner in the field, 7 starts, 2 wins, 2 seconds, 2 thirds. I think that Niconelli and Calderona, I personally believe they're all running for second or third.
I think so too, absolutely. And as I said, I ended up just using all the horses in here because you really never know, especially coming off that layoff. But I think 100% Mac Daddy Mac is the one to beat.
Yeah, let's go to race number 9, 1 mile and 1/16th on the turf. These are claimers, non-winners of 2, 3 and up, $16,000. And we have a full field of 10 runners in here. And you went with the number 9 horse right on top of your ticket, and I'm liking that.
Well, I guess I'm going for a bit of prices today. Horner Man, the number 9, is 4 to 1 on the morning line, so not a huge price, but moved over into the Ralph Nix barn last time out, ran at 6 furlongs, so stretching out in distance today. Had run a couple of route races on on the turf, ended up switching over to the dirt and broke his maiden with trainer Brian Lynch. As I said, now moving over for the second time with trainer Ralph Nix. But what I liked last time was towards the back. It was behind actually Nick Anelli, so we'll see how he ends up running in the race prior. But improved in that race, and I think with the stretch out in distance, this might be the right spot.
Yeah, I used the horse you have in third, our Cat Daddy. Broke his maiden on the turf at the $25,000 level. Goes back today. Lost all chance last time out. He just stumbled at the start. I think he has to be. And, you know, that was moved from 7.5 furlongs on the turf. He wanted to run in a route race on the turf. When that happens, the race was cut back to 7 furlongs on the main track. So I'm going to put a line through that race and just go back that performance where he broke his maiden on the turf at the $25,000 level. And we both used Banco Dinero.
And this one is really looks to be, yes, on paper, one of the ones to beat. Second in the last 2 starts, but again, those were seconds. What I do like is that this horse has run 6 times at this distance before, which some of the other horses in this field can't boast that, but has some early speed. Finished second at 1 mile and 1/8 last time, and at 1 mile and 16.
Yeah, on paper, this is the one to beat from the Jenna Antonucci bond. But look who's the number 1 horse in here. Weezer Gone Greg steps up to face 2 live competition. Held on last time out for a $101 payoff on the inside with speed. Can it do it again? We'll see. It's my long shot play today. I'm going to try and get this horse home. He's 20-1 on the morning line. Well, that's how we see the Friday card. It's going to be a fun day. And guess what? They got to try and beat the expert, and they have, 29 minutes to do it.
Yes, 29 minutes. Head on over to Gulfstreampark.com or our Facebook page and get your picks in. I'm ready for you.